Real spirituality says you're not going anywheres while you think life is about getting what you want and avoiding what you don't want. Well, you're going somewheres. You're going into the world of trying to make things be the way you want and make sure they're not the way you don't want. And that's a world of suffering. Let's take Buddha's Noble Truths. All of life is suffering. He said all of life is suffering. Why? Because you made it that way. It is. The rich people are suffering. You notice the rich people are suffering? You notice the poor people are suffering? You know, the old people are suffering? The young people are suffering? The young people are suffering because they want to be old. The old people are suffering because they want to be young. Married people are suffering because they want to be single. The single people are suffering because they want to be married. Everybody's suffering at one point or another. And Buddha said they're all suffering. Why? And he meditated on it. He studied and he studied. And one day he came back to town after all these years of sitting in solitude, and he said, I figured out why everybody's suffering. So I said, well, let me take notes. You don't need notes. It's just a one-liner. How can it be a one-liner? Everybody's suffering. It has to be poverty and sickness and old age and greed. There are lots of things that make people suffer, right? He said, no. One thing. First noble truth, all life is suffering. Second noble truth, the cause of suffering is preference. The cause of all suffering is desire. Desire, I don't like to use the word desire because in the West, we think desire means lust, greed, extreme stuff, right? It is interpreted, and it's properly so, by any of the deep Zen teachers. And what he meant, and he did mean it, is preference. That because, what is a desire? A way I want it to be. How's that? What is desire? It's not lust. It's a way I want it to be. I desire that it not be cloudy today. I desire I could have his watch. I desire to feel better. It's something you want that you don't have. How's that? That a desire? There's something I want that I don't have. You don't desire what you do have. But somehow a notion got put in your mind that that thing would make me feel better. Therefore I want it. A notion got put in your mind that that thing would make me suffer. Therefore I don't want it. So you have these concepts. Now, the thing I talked about all night. You have these views, concepts, opinions, preferences, hopes, dreams, call it what you want, desires. The cause of suffering is desire. Buddha had it right. If you don't have these notions in your mind about how things have to be, wait till you see how wonderful the world is. It's just beautiful. It's just a very exciting experience. It doesn't mean it's always pleasant. It's just exciting. But if you're playing a sport, you don't necessarily win every time. It's exciting to be challenged, isn't it? It's exciting to have someone who's better than you are that's playing it. The world doesn't necessarily, it doesn't mean, when Buddha said end suffering, mean it's not a way of getting what you want. First noble truth, all life is suffering. Second noble truth, the cause of suffering is preference. Third noble truth is to end suffering, stop it. He said to end suffering and desire. But then they misinterpret that. And they take it as renunciation, as right and wrong, and so on. No, that's having a desire but deciding you're not supposed to. That's what renunciation is. If I don't have a desire, there's nothing to renounce. So otherwise I have this desire, and I'm not supposed to do it. That doesn't work. That is not spirituality. Suppression is not spirituality. You have to go to the root. Buddhists talk about going to the root. The root is that I have made up a system within my mind, based on my past experiences, of what I want and what I don't want. There, I said it. That's what Buddha said, and that causes suffering, period. So instead, you come inside and you realize, I have a problem. The problem is my mind keeps making up what it wants, keeps making up what it doesn't want. And then I start being scared that the world won't be the way I want, or that it will be the way I don't want. Can you relate to that? And I got tension, anxiety. I have anxiety. About what? What's there to be anxious about? The world spins on its axis. Been doing it for 4.5 billion years. You anxious that someday it won't? Don't worry about it. The weather happens. All kinds of things happen all by themselves. You have trillions, 6 or 10 trillion cells within your body. Do you worry about whether they're going to divide properly? And only if one goes haywire, then you worry, all right? But net result is every single minute of every day, 10 trillion things inside your body are doing what they need to be doing. You're not worried about it. All of these things are very important, and you're letting them go on by themselves. The sun comes up, the body goes about its business. All that Buddha is saying is, it's all going on by itself. You're just the experiencer of the unfolding of life. Why don't you start by honoring and respecting it? Then you won't have trouble with it. So those are the noble truths. They're all spiritual teachings are the same. They basically are saying, you have made a mess of things by letting your mind make up how everything's supposed to be. And now you can't be happy unless it's that way. And you get upset when it's not that way. You need to clean that out. That's what it boils down to. And how? Like we're talking Buddha. All life is suffering. Cause suffering is desire. To end suffering, end desire. How? The Eightfold Path. That's the Fourth Noble Truth. So he lays out the Buddhist path. Well, Christians have their path. Zen has its path. You have your path. Doesn't matter. The point is you're all doing the same thing, which is, how do I learn to not get caught up in my mind that made up what it wants? One way to do it is to notice why did it make up what it wants? I told you. Because you've had past experiences, and they left impressions inside of you. And that's what your likes and dislikes. We call them yoga, call them some scars. It left these impressions inside of you that are now manifesting, telling you what you like and what you don't like. When you were little, you had a blanket. It's all psychology. You had a blanket. It was blue. They took it away too soon. You hate blue. Or you love it. But you're not neutral about it. These things left impressions. And those give you the sense of like and dislike. You didn't decide what you like. You did not. Your mind just said it. Oh, I like her. You don't even know why. Because her hair flips a little bit like your mother's did. And you loved your mother. Or I don't like her because your hair flips a little bit. You don't like your mother. It's just impressions. That's what some scars are. Just impressions that got left on your mental body, on your mind. And now the outside world stimulates those. And it starts saying, I like it, I don't like it, I'm open, I'm closed. Everything. You didn't decide what kind of art you like. You didn't decide what kind of music you like. You didn't. When you were 12 years old, you were with someone you liked, and they liked hip-hop or something like that. And for the rest of your life, every time you hear hip-hop, your heart opens. You say, I've always been that way. No, you were that way since that guy you dated with, and he kissed you. That was a song that was playing. And you ever have special songs that turn you on? You weren't born that way. It isn't something I think I'll make this my song. That's not what happens. An experience happens. It leaves an impression on you. It is so arbitrary, it is ridiculous. If it was playing a different song, you'd have a different feeling. And then 10 years later, when you go out on a date, or 20 years later, you go out on a blind date from the web or somebody hooked you up, and you go to a restaurant and they're playing the song that you really liked. You like the guy. You're just a pinball machine. You don't know what's going to happen next. It opens, it closes, it bounces all around. You can't figure out from one moment to the next because you have these impressions left inside. So this is the answer. It's very simple. First, understand life is not about getting what you want and avoiding what you don't want. That is the shallowest life that anybody could possibly live, and unfortunately everybody lives it. Because what you like and dislike, you didn't even decide. They're just you're programmed. You got software. It got programmed inside of you what to like and dislike based on what your preacher did, what your mother did, what your first boyfriend did, what your ex-husband did. Right? I guarantee you, if you used to go to this restaurant with your ex-husband and then you all got divorced and hated it, you'll never go to that restaurant again. And if you did, it would make you sick. You'd make yourself sick. Right? It's like these impressions just got left inside of you. And so a wise person takes arms against this and says, I will not live like that. I will not sit there and say, because these impressions are left inside of me, that I can only be happy if the world matches them. I've limited my happiness to 0.001% of my breaths. All right, how many times have you been blissed out? What percentage of the breaths you've taken in your life were you in a state of absolute ecstasy and well-being? 0.00001. It's supposed to be 99.9. You're supposed to be enjoying your life. It's exciting. It's beautiful. It's filled with joy. But you've limited. You're only going to get turned on if the world happens to match these patterns you have stored inside, because they are running your life. That's how powerful some scars. The Vedas talked about some scars. The Upanishads. That's what this is. It's not some weird thing. So to free yourself, instead of using your will to try to make this world that has nothing to do with you, it's just going about its business, to try to make it match the garbage you've collected inside, why don't you instead let go of the garbage that's inside so that you can enjoy things as they are and not just enjoy them when they match you? That is all of spirituality. It's called spiritual purification. Spiritual purification is, I'm going to get rid of my garbage. And that's the bottom line. I'm going to get rid of my garbage. How? You're going to find out. That's what all yoga is about. That's what all Zen's about. That's what all the teachings are about. The deep teachings. They're about how to cleanse this garbage that has gotten stored inside of you. Can you cleanse it? Yes. Well, what if I had a terrible divorce? So what? It's not happening right now. Why is it still in there? That's my attitude. If it ain't happening now, why am I being bothered about it? It's bad enough I was bothered about what was happening. If it happened 3 years ago, why is it still inside of me? I must be keeping it in there myself. It's not going to stay inside of you. It's not even happening. You learn to let go. You learn to let go. When it comes back up, you relax and you release. You just relax and say, you are welcome to come back up in here. It hurts. Of course it hurts. It was stored with pain. It's coming back with pain. Would you rather store the pain inside of you or get rid of it so it's not running your life? That's how a yogi lives. That's how a great being lives. That's a vow that a great being takes to themselves. Before I die, I'm going to see what it's like to live without this stuff inside of here. You are you. Hi, you in there? Hi. Hi. You're not this garbage that keeps popping up inside, making you like a marionette. All of a sudden it pops up. I don't want to be here. I'm not comfortable. I don't want to be here. You leave. I would never do what he tells me to do. Never. I spent years and years and years liberating myself to sit there and say, if I go somewhere and say, I don't like it, I'm just going to eat it and I'll enjoy it. And no way I'm letting that whining thing run your life. So you relax your way through it. It comes up, you relax. It comes up, you relax. I teach you all the time. You start, remember I started by saying spirituality is every moment of your life. It's not what happens on your meditation pillow. You're living your life. It starts raining. Somebody's driving too slow in front of you. Somebody says something you don't like. Then they walk away. Let it go. Start with these tiny little experiences. They're more important than the big ones. When you start playing the piano, you don't start with Beethoven. You start with the scales. So don't tell me I know how to let go of the divorce. It really made a deep impression on me. All right. So don't work with the divorce. Work with, like I told you, work with the fact that it's raining when you have to get out of the car. Don't make a melodrama out of it. But I get wet. Come on, these are the scales. You don't want that stuff inside of you, do you? Somebody says one word to you in the morning, right? And it ruins your whole day? No, it's ridiculous. You have to learn to let these things go. That's what meditation's about, practicing letting go. That's what mantra's about, having an alternative in your mind that's more mild and balanced than what your mind is normally doing. And all your spiritual techniques are about relaxing and releasing so that these things do not leave impressions inside of you. Somebody beeps at you on your way to work. Do you want that to ruin your day? Let it go. I don't want you carrying it. I don't want you telling everybody about it. I don't want you complaining about it. It's just a moment in life, isn't it? Why would you let that determine your state of being and your mood and everything? Relax and release. Every moment, not just in meditation. Every moment, let go. Understand if you don't let go, you're storing it inside of you. And if it's stored inside of you, it's going to mess you up for the rest of your life. Is it true that stuff could still be in there from when you were 6? You better say yes, because that's the entire science of psychology.